Here's a really important aspect of the omoplata. This really helped me about 10-15 years ago when I did a deep dive into the omoplata, and it still helps me today because if you see a lot of the fancy entries or the transitions in or out of the omoplata, they go through this. So if you know this position, then it'll make sense of all that super fancy Mendez Brothers stuff that you're looking at and going, how the hell does this happen? Well, half the time they're going through this. So let's say that somehow we've gotten into omoplata, right? This is not the position, this is omoplata, this is not the position I'm talking about. So as I'm setting it up, Richie rolls. He does a forward somersault and he rolls. See how I'm controlling the elbow here? Let's rotate. I'm controlling the elbow here, and as he rolls, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to sit on his shoulder. Right now, there's my calf, his shoulder, my hamstring, and I'm going to sit on it here. If I sit on this long enough and hard enough, hopefully the circulation in his arm starts shutting off. Like, is that comfortable or?
Yep, feels like the stranger.
Good Lord. So I'm putting a lot of weight down onto his arm. I don't want to do this with no hands, but Richie, can you just try and back out and pull his arm out? We're in no gi. So with the gi, this is even tighter. I've got a good grip. If I want to keep this, I keep the elbow and pull up. So this is the position I'm talking about, the sitting on the shoulder position. From here, I can get back into the omoplata a whole bunch of different ways. The simplest way is to keep this elbow and just to push myself backwards over his body. Here we are. Now I sit up before he can sit up, scoot my legs away, start coming here, start coming here, start coming here. Whichever finish I want to do. Doesn't matter, we're not talking about finishes. We're talking about this position. So let's get back to the sitting on the shoulder position. That was me throwing myself back. Say Richie's really trying to sit up, just like he's trying to sit up, he's trying to sit up, he's trying to sit up. Instead of throwing myself backwards this way, I can do a shoulder roll over my shoulder that's closest to his legs. But this requires him trying to sit up. So try and sit up. I can roll here. Once again, we're in the omoplata position as he starts coming up. I break him down here, and I finish. Here we are. Again, as much pressure as I can on that shoulder. Right now, his shoulder is down by my Achilles tendon. That's not right. It needs to be tighter here. It needs to actually be my calf. So I threw myself backwards. I rolled over this shoulder. The other thing I can do is to just slowly pull his elbow and walk over his head. So that I'm not throwing myself back. It's like my legs are the hands of a clock. And I'm slowly shuffling this way. And oh, look, we're back in the omoplata. The omoplata is not the only submission that you can get from the sitting on the shoulder position. You can, if he's here and if he's being sloppy, I get the wrist, I get the elbow, I can compress it. I can't do this if he's gigantic, if his forearms are the size of my thighs. Impossible. But if he's being sloppy or if he's cupping my thigh here, there we go. Very easy way to finish. I finish a lot of people with this. Marcus Suarez once showed me a submission where you grab the elbow, grab the wrist, and you pull the elbow up, and you push the wrist down. This is a Kimura. So you can Kimura, wrist lock, Kimura. You can step back here and start setting up your triangle choke. You can, if you want, abandon this position and go to side mount. Now, I was saying that the sitting on the shoulder position can be set up when the guy does a forward somersault out of your omoplata. There's 1,000 other ways that you can end up in this position when you're sparring. Let's say we're here, we're sparring, and I shift my hips, and then I step back. Oh look, I've got his arm here. This is pretty close to the sitting on the shoulder position. Right now, I'm kind of scissoring his forearm. I should be scissoring his shoulder, so I'm going to grab the wrist, pop up. Here, I can go to wrist lock and go to the Kimura, but relevant to today's topic, I can go to the omoplata. So those are some ideas and examples around that position. You'll find lots of ways to end up here in scrambles. You'll find lots of ways to end up here when you're fighting in the omoplata and your opponent tries to roll out this way. He tries to roll out that way. You're trying to get the omoplata and you power him over. You don't finish the move, but you temporarily pass through that position. The two most common or three most common mistakes that I see with it are, number one, there's not, move this way a bit please Richie, there's not the sandwiching effect. I really have to be pinching his shoulder between something below it and above it. This is not pinching. One hand is not on the elbow and the other on the shoulder. It's right above and below. Think of you're trying to cut off the circulation. Another, I don't want to be out by the elbow because now he just has to pull his elbow out a touch and he's gone. So I want to be up by the shoulder. Third most common thing, both knees down or the wrong knee out. Sure, there's stuff I can do from here, but this isn't the sitting on the shoulder position that blends so smoothly into the omoplata game. It really has to be the leg near his head is outriggered and the leg near his hips is bent. Here, I've got all the attacks, I've got all the ways to get into the omoplata. So check it out. Identifying this position and this concept was super useful to me, and I hope it's super useful to you as well.